This was supposed to be the young woman's final day in the nightlife industry. She wore a blue wristband, a symbol that she would only accompany customers and would never cross her personal boundaries. Although it meant earning less money, her dignity and principles were something she refused to sacrifice. Her dream was simple: finish this last job, save enough money, open a flower shop, and start a new life. Unfortunately, fate had other plans. That night, one of her customers was a basketball coach. He proudly bragged about manipulating game results and making huge profits through sports betting. According to him, anyone who bet against his team could turn a small investment into a fortune worth millions. The woman listened but paid little attention. She hated gambling and wanted nothing more than to finish work and go home. What she didn't realize was that someone else had taken the coach's words seriously. The next day, when she went to collect her earnings, she received devastating news. All of her savings, along with the money she had entrusted to her supervisor, had disappeared. The supervisor had invested everything in the betting scheme after hearing the coach's tip. Unfortunately, the information turned out to be false, and after losing everything, the supervisor took their own life in an instant. The woman's dream collapsed. To make matters worse, she later discovered that her best friend had also poured their remaining savings into the same bet and lost it all. With their future shattered and no money left, the woman was forced to return to the very life she had hoped to leave behind. This time, she replaced her blue wristband with a red one, a sign that desperation had pushed her beyond the boundaries she once refused to cross. Then, a new opportunity appeared. One evening, her friend overheard several men discussing a hidden fortune. A wealthy businessman had secretly stashed away millions in cash to avoid government scrutiny, and the men were planning to steal it for themselves. For the two friends, this sounded like the chance of a lifetime. If they could get their hands on that money, everything they had lost could finally be restored. And so begins a gripping story of revenge, greed, betrayal, and the dangerous pursuit of a better life. After learning about the hidden fortune, Dojin and Miseon quickly agreed on a risky plan. Their goal was simple: find the money before the male models did, take it for themselves, and escape to Japan to start a brand new life. However, there was one major obstacle. They had no idea where the cash was actually hidden. With no other option, Miseon returned to her old line of work. Wearing a mask to conceal her identity, she entered the wealthy businessman's private room. Her plan was to gain his trust, get him drunk, and uncover the location of the hidden money. The businessman proved far more cautious than expected. He refused to drink and remained alert throughout their conversation. As Miseon continued talking with him, she accidentally uncovered a shocking truth. The businessman was the real mastermind behind the betting scandal that had ruined countless lives. Spreading false information and manipulating desperate people for profit was something he had done many times before. The revelation filled Miseon with even greater determination. This was no longer just about recovering money. It had become personal. She now wanted revenge as much as she wanted the fortune. Just then, the businessman suddenly asked her to remove her mask. Thinking quickly, Miseon used a clever provocation tactic, attempting to distract him and keep control of the situation while continuing her search for the truth.
가면 벗을게요.
Miseon's strategy finally paid off. After some clever manipulation, the wealthy businessman began drinking. However, she quickly realized that his alcohol tolerance was far stronger than expected. Even after half an hour of drinking, he remained surprisingly alert. Meanwhile, Dojung was waiting downstairs. When Miseon failed to return, she assumed something had gone wrong and immediately activated Plan B. She deliberately crashed into the businessman's car. The distraction worked perfect. The businessman rushed outside to deal with the situation and accidentally left his phone behind. The moment he was gone, Miseon used the device to uncover the location of the hidden fortune. The two women decided to retrieve the money that very night, unaware that a male model with the same goal was also preparing to make his move. Late that night, they arrived at a deserted cemetery. Despite the eerie surroundings, their desire for wealth outweighed their fear. After digging through several graves, they finally discovered the bag containing the hidden cash. Their excitement turned into shock when they found something even more valuable beneath it, a chest filled with gold bars. Suddenly, their future seemed secured. But on their way home, the male model intercepted them. Believing the cash was everything, he demanded they hand it over. Realizing he knew nothing about the gold, Miseon grabbed the money bag and ran. As expected, he chased after her. After a fierce struggle, He managed to seize the cash and left feeling victorious, mocking the women for their bad luck. What he didn't know was that the true treasure remained safely with them. Their next priority was escaping the country before the businessman discovered the theft. They sought help from Do-jung's mother, a former nightclub worker with connections and secrets of her own. She possessed compromising information about an influential Japanese official and believed she could use it to secure safe passage. Although she agreed to help, she demanded a substantial payment in return. Despite feeling hurt, Do-jung accepted the condition. Preparations moved forward smoothly. Fake identities were arranged, travel plans were finalized, and their escape seemed within reach. Then, disaster struck. The businessman eventually discovered that his fortune had been stolen. His enforcers tracked down the male model and pressured him for answers. Knowing nothing about the gold, he revealed Mi-seon and Do-jung's names. At the same time, the women discovered that the vehicle containing the gold bars had vanished. There was only one person who could have taken it, Do-jung's mother. When confronted over the phone, she refused to reveal the exact location of the gold, claiming it was hidden somewhere known only to her and her daughter. Then she hung up and headed to an exclusive club. There, she openly spent money and even displayed a gold bar in public. It was a reckless move. The news quickly reached the businessman, who immediately dispatched his most feared enforcer. By the time Do-jung and Mi-seon arrived at the club, the enforcer had already entered the private room where Do-jung's mother was waiting. Everyone else was forced out, yet strangely, she showed no sign of fear at all. As if she had been expecting this confrontation from the very beginning, Do-jung arrived just in time to rescue her mother from the private room, locking the enforcer inside. Surprisingly, instead of being grateful, her mother became furious. She scolded Do-jung for acting recklessly. In reality, she had intentionally exposed herself as bait. She knew the businessman would come looking for the stolen gold, so she planned to distract him and buy enough time for Do-jung and Mi-seon to escape. When her plan was ruined, she deliberately said cruel things, even claiming that she had never considered Do-jung her daughter. Heartbroken and angry, Do-jung walked away, unaware that every harsh word had been spoken to protect her. Later, she remembered a place where the gold might be hidden and decided to retrieve it. Mi-seon, however, refused to abandon Do-jung's mother without understanding what had happened. Soon afterward, Mi-seon discovered that the woman had been captured again. Having been raised by her as well, she immediately followed the kidnappers. The enforcers brought the woman before the businessman and lowered her into a deep pit filled with hot asphalt. A single rope was left hanging, giving her a chance to survive if she revealed the location of the gold. But she refused to talk. Instead, she dragged one of the enforcers down with her. Furious, the businessman cut the only rope, leaving her to disappear beneath the asphalt. Hidden nearby, Mi-seon witnessed the tragedy and broke down in tears. At the same time, Do-jung successfully recovered the gold from an old public storage locker she remembered from childhood. But the victory felt meaningless after learning of her mother's sacrifice. Only then did she realize the truth. Her mother had willingly risked everything to save them. The cruel words were never genuine. They were part of a desperate attempt to push her daughter away from danger. Consumed by guilt and grief, Do-jung abandoned any thoughts of running away. She wanted justice. The two women tracked down the male model who had betrayed them. He revealed that the businessman was planning another massive match-fixing scheme and had invested nearly all of his remaining wealth into it. If the plan succeeded, he would recover everything he had lost. Determined to stop him, Mi-seon and Do-jung gathered the women who had previously been victimized by his scams. Together, they spread information that disrupted his betting strategy and turned public expectations against him. Meanwhile, Mi-seon approached a key player on the WP basketball team. She convinced him to stop throwing games for money and to play with pride instead. When the big match finally arrived, the player gave the performance of his life. WP dominated the game and secured a convincing victory. The result completely destroyed the businessman's scheme. In a single night, he lost everything he had left and watched his empire collapse around him.